post a fried rice recipe, I urge you, and I beg and I plead that you do a little research. Google it right there. Google right there. The influence to allow us to make pepper shrimp fried rice. We'll obviously need pepper shrimp. And this recipe here, I shared the pepper shrimp part of it a few years ago. It's very simple. I have here about 1.5 pounds of 2130, so pretty big shrimp. Yeah, I have the tails on. You can remove the tails, and it came peeled and deveined. So all I did was I washed it with the juice of half of a lemon and water, drained it. To that, I'm gonna go in with a tiny bit of salt. I also like adding a bit of tamari to it, and it is a gluten-free soy sauce. So, but if you don't have tamari, and forget the brand, I'm not associated with the brand, you can use a bit of light soy sauce in there. To that, I'm gonna add some black pepper. And that recipe, that pepper shrimp recipe, is a hit on the website. I urge you to go check it out at CaribbeanPot.com. Got some cornstarch that I'm gonna put in there, and we're gonna hit that a mix just to make sure everything, all of the shrimp, is coated in that cornstarch. And that cornstarch is gonna help us get a sort of a crust on the outside of the shrimp. Like I said, you really want to give this one a try. The recipe is available at CaribbeanPot.com, except today we're using the same sort of technique, but we're bringing rice into the mix to give us that pepper shrimp. Ooh, that pepper shrimp fried rice. So this is what we got here. They're all coated with the cornstarch, a little bit of salt, because remember that tamari is gonna have a bit of a sodium element to it as well. Some black pepper. If I use black pepper, if you wanted to use white pepper, you'll wrap that white pepper. All I'm doing, I have some vegetable oil in my wok. I'm just tossing in the shrimp in there, and you don't want to keep it in there for long, just about a minute or so. I'm going to do it in a couple batches because I really don't want to crowd the... I'm using a wok. You can use a frying pan. It's totally up to you, yeah? And here I have the shrimp all done, already fried for that 1 minute or so. I saved back in the wok 1.5 tablespoons of the same oil that we used. The rest of it is being filtered. I tend to reuse oil because at the end of the day it can be very expensive lately. That's just vegetable oils. If I'm frying fish or shrimp or anything else in the future, I will go ahead and use that. We've got some onions, some garlic, and quite a bit of garlic. That's about, and you know, the full recipe will be posted on CaribbeanPot.com, so you can head over there for the full list of ingredients. It won't be there immediately, but it will be there pretty soon, within the next day or two. Half of a bell pepper that I found in the fridge, totally optional, but it will give it a lovely color element to things. Just gonna hit that a little mix. My heat is on a sort of a medium low because I don't want to burn the garlic. I want to sort of flavor this oil that we have on the bottom there, and this is all part of making the pepper shrimp. And speaking about pepper shrimp, what I'm going to use is a fatali pepper, which packs a wicked punch, seeds and everything. So in goes that, and that is where my pepper is going to come from. If you have Scotch bonnet, if you have habanero, and again, it all depends on how much pepper you want in there. What I must mention is that it is important for you to vent the kitchen. Have a window open or some sort of means of venting the kitchen. In my case here, I should have the stove on, the fan over the stove on. Unfortunately, if I have that, you have it on, you won't be able to hear me. But with that pepper in the oil there, and speaking about oil, I'm going to go in with some sesame oil. I am not the biggest fan of sesame oil, but it does add a lovely flavor in here. So if you want to add a bit more, you can certainly do that. If I were to turn on that fan right now, you won't be hearing me. So if you see me start choking, it is because of you all and delivering something that you all can hear. We're in with the shrimp again, and this is why we only cooked it for about a minute or so at the very start, because I don't want to overcook the shrimp, you know. Yeah, sometimes we are guilty of overcooking stuff, and shrimp tends to be one of those things. What I failed to mention is I waited until the garlic had a bit of a golden edge to it, and you will see the onion as well too, the same sort of golden edge, and that's when I added the shrimp. If you wanted, you can stop here, right here, add a bit more salt if you wanted to, and you got pepper shrimp. What I'm going to do is push the shrimp to the side like so. So it's time to add my pre-cooked chilled rice. It's very important that the rice is cold, the nice and chilled rice, and we've talked about this in the past, will give you that sort of grainy sort of fried rice that we all tend to like. Well, I do anyways. And yet, no eggs. My man don't deal with eggs in fried rice. Yeah? If you rock in the eggs in the fried rice, I mean to say, that is your thing, you know what I mean? At this point, I'm going to go in with some mushroom flavored soy sauce. And it is just a dark soy sauce that's flavored with mushroom. It's got a lovely flavor to it. And I also like, traditionally, or not traditionally, typically I would use oyster sauce. There's no oyster sauce right now in the fridge. So that is some hoisin sauce. All we're going to do now is mix that all together. And the combination of soy sauce and mushroom flavored soy sauce. If you can source it, I highly recommend you pick up some and you keep it in your cupboards or wherever you keep your your soy sauce. Once everything is mixed, yeah, I'm choking like crazy. You pass me for a while there. But I'm just gonna mix in the shrimp in there. We're almost done. I'm making a mess, boy. Cheese and cripes. Anyhow, there's two more things I like to finish off here with, yeah? Now you notice I didn't add any salt to the rice element of things here because my rice was cooked in salted water. So, and then, you know, the mushroom soy sauce, the tamari that we use, all that have that sort of sodium element to things. But all you would do now is heat that through. And I like to finish it off with a combination, and it's only because I have it in the garden there. A combination of chives and parsley, just to brighten it up just a little bit. I'm going to turn off the stove because I don't want to overcook anything, and the residual heat is... Sup, soldiers? Listen, if you enjoy this recipe, I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and click that bell notification thing. If you've made the recipe, take a picture and send it to me. Email address down here. I mean, trying to tell people the email address, them butts will take the address and do all kind of thing with it. And tag me on Instagram at Caribbean Pod. I really appreciate you guys, and thanks for being in my kitchen with me today. Irie? I'm gonna cook this down for me. Chris here, CaribbeanPod.com. Always a pleasure having you all in the kitchen with me. The sort of garlic flavor from the chives, and this is why I like using the chives. It just adds to the overall flavor of this pepper shrimp fried rice. Just look at that lovely boy. I'm telling you, boy. And by the way, for those of you who are always trying to cause propaganda and spread hate and all that, every time I post a fried rice recipe, I urge you, and I beg and I plead that you do a little research. Google it right there. Google right there. The influence of the Chinese indentured laborers who came to the Caribbean back in, I think it was around 1823 or something, and how it influenced the culinary landscape. They influenced the culinary landscape of the Caribbean. Chris here, CaribbeanPod.com. Always a pleasure having you all in the kitchen with me. I've got a mess to clean up, boy. Rice everywhere. But anyhow, I do hope you guys get the opportunity to give this pepper shrimp rice, fried rice, a go.